Shapes.io, a game about automation, shapes, and the effects of sleep deprivation on the body and mind. You play as God, and your goal is to colonize the surrounding white world to create shapes. With these shapes, you level up research and create blueprints to expand your production. However, to do all this, God needs to use his bright golden God hands to create tools, machines, and build more shapes. Then expand. After all, there is never an end. You will never be able to stop playing. You will die. Once all the steps before have been completed, only then will you be able to be done playing. All God starts with is our main hub, conveyors and extractors, and must transform the natural landscape and fully colonize it, wiping out all the white creatures on this white world, producing at the highest capacity and the lowest standard of ethics possible. First, your boy God needs squares, stars and circles to power and build his startup. I would recommend by placing a few extractors on circles, stars and squares. This will start the production of basic shapes. All them shapes can be used to get upgrades that make everything faster. Cutters are needed to cut shapes. These are the first of many complex machines you are given. Stackers, mergers and painters are unlocked later. The closest I've ever been to experience aggressive crack addiction came from Shapes.io. I started writing the script but I forgot what to write, so I went back in and I didn't come back out for another 7 hours. All being told, I probably spent around 14 hours playing to not ever break the surface of this game. Not recommended for health, but it was certainly very fun. So how can this happen? Well, Shapes.io is filled with positive feedback routes that seamlessly feed off of each other. For example, to get whatever this is, you need to build painters for these blue shapes and colour mixers to make white, which then needs to be used to paint circles, then slap them onto each other to create this. But the crack comes in when you realise there isn't enough white circles, so you build more. But now we need to optimise this, because there is too much white circles and you need more white dye, stacker and blue shapes. It never ends. Poor planning, a slow computer, and terrorism can definitely cap the number of shapes per minute you can produce, until you remember that the map is endless and therefore there will never be an end. Designing blueprints for your factory and slapping them on whilst watching your creation work gives a feeling only the most strongest, most refined crack can emulate. You will, however, have to make some sacrifices while playing Shapes.io, only small ones though, like socialising. The painters are my friend. Or sleep. Factory isn't going to build itself now, is it? Once you've built your starter factory and God's itch has been itched for expansion, only then are you in the mid-game. Here it becomes noticeably harder. The game becomes more of a relaxed factory game to a hardcore factory puzzle builder game. Anyway, back to my point. It becomes more of planning how you'll do things and which order. Like research has to be done, but so do the levels. So then you have to decide what you will do. Will you do things organised or will it end up looking like some Italian pasta? So, now all the tools have been unlocked, what next? Expansion. The focus shifts from shapes to optimizing bottlenecks. Bottlenecks are anything on your factory that reduces total production. For example, if there are 26 extractors going into one conveyor, that conveyor wouldn't cope with all the shapes coming out of the extractors. Build more conveyors. That's all a bottleneck is. However, by this point, there is probably many bottlenecks in your factory. This is where the real optimization begins. This is where your factory gets into the big boy numbers. There isn't much aim to the end game other than squeezing out all the productivity from your factory. This is the stage where time becomes a mere illusion, getting in the way of constructing your perfect factory. You will play until your entire body is shaking from the lack of sleep and food. But this won't stop you. Those 10 minutes cooking food could and will be better spent upgrading your factory. As you fall into a trance, you begin to hear voices beckoning. The factory must grow. 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 The end of the game is normally when you hit your goal shapes per minute or die of starvation.